My intuition is that a recession is inevitable. Why hasn't it happened yet? Only the paranoid survive, but how do we turn paranoia into an action plan?
Here's a couple things that we have to be thinking about. Credit card debt, highest it's ever been. US has $33 trillion of debt, worst it's ever been, the highest it's ever been. The more you print dollars and it's more accessible, the less its value, the less it's worth. You're gonna see the first trillionaire in the next 24 months. Because none of this is gonna affect the guys at the top. None of it. Every time they print money, the guys at the top make more money. If there's anybody that should be against printing money, it's low and middle income families. The idea of middle America not being able to make the money they need to make to be able to afford a house, send their kids to school, live in a nice place, enjoy some of their dreams, maybe not the biggest ones, but some of their dreams are going to become a reality. Middle America is getting smaller and smaller and smaller every single time we print money.
You have to have a mechanism by which you put this new money that you created out of thin air by fiat, literally just saying it now exists. You have to put it into the system. The way it's put into the system is by buying assets, because typically low and middle income people don't buy assets. They buy products, like you were saying. Then they aren't beneficiary of that unless there are stimulation checks. Now those they will get sent directly to them. So there are ways to put it in their pocket. But what you're effectively doing is socializing losses. So you are spreading the loss out across everybody. My dollar buys less, and so it takes more dollars to buy the same thing because nothing fundamentally happened. The business that I own a piece of did not become more productive, and therefore can actually generate more by adding more value to the world. Once you understand that, like, I actually, as a wealthy person, do complain when people print money, because I'm like, hey, there is a point at which you break everything, because the money is just going to hyperinflate, and it isn't only going to be the stock market that goes up, it's going to be the cost of bread and gas and taking your family to a movie and all of that. When COVID happened, that actually kept us from going into something that probably should have been worse than the Great Depression. The money printed their way out of it, and we ended up being okay because it was spread across a lot of people. Now, because I am such a student of Ray Dalio, I know that governments, once they start money printing, they can't stop. And every time in human history that it's been used as a tool, it's used until it breaks. Until it breaks, every time, without exception. And typically, as it's racing towards breaking, I think it's 8 out of the last 14 times it's ended up in a hot war. As the big debt cycle comes to an end and money's inflating away to nothing, debt is completely out of control, nobody can make their payments, everybody's defaulting, you have to have a complete reset of the wealth, which is, I think, why everybody calls this the Great Reset or the Big Reset or whatever. Because we are forestalling catastrophe right now by printing, but we are only forestalling it. And nobody, I've had a lot of people on the show, nobody can tell me how you pull out of this death spiral other than austerity, and no one's going to do austerity.
What will happen? The rich are still going to get rich. The innovators are still going to find a way to win. The people who learn how to use AI on their side, they're going to advance and excel even more. The acceleration and the disparity between the rich and the poor is going to get wider and wider and wider. Why? Because most people are going to spend majority of their lives on Instagram, on TikTok. They're not going to learn a new skill set. They're not studying AI right now. They're not studying technology right now. Harvard did an article saying to stay competitive right now, every 18 months you have 10 new skill sets to learn as an executive. It wasn't like that. It used to be 10 new skill sets every 5 years. Now we have to learn 10 new skill sets every 18 months. How the hell do we keep up? We talk about only the paranoid survival. Like right now you have to be looking at this shit's out there. What part of it do I control? What part of it do I have no control over? If not a billionaire or a hecta or a decamillionaire, man, I got to figure out a way to increase my market value or else I'm going to get crushed.
Because only the paranoid survive, there's actually two things you need to be paranoid about right now. Paranoia number one is you can pull out of the market too soon and miss real opportunities. And since no one is going to be able to accurately forecast the timing, you have to be thoughtful about that.
I have a job, and it's called DUG. Diffuse, unify, and be the glue. We don't have a lot of Dougs around the world today. We have division today. We have divisiveness today. But if there's that one strong personality, leader of the free world, a Churchill, a Reagan, a person you don't want to mess with, the world is typically a safe place. People are not dummies. Those types of people, I think, are going to fight each other enough. And if we keep our eyes open, this will continue to be the greatest country in the world, and hopefully even better if we rise up to it. If not, the best days are behind us. If we don't learn our lesson from the last 3 years.